So for our panel discussion now, I'm delighted, nay pleased, to welcome three directors of the CTA. Jason Edwards, at the far end, owner of coach holiday operator Jason Edwards Travel and vice chair of the CTA. Don't, it'll go to his head. In the centre we have Louise Fitzpatrick, head of sales at tour wholesaler Albatross Travel.
Thank you.
And last, and absolutely last, no, only kidding, Graham Hopcraft is global sales manager with ferry operator DFDS. I think Louise wins. Anyway, I'm going to ask each of them just to say a few words about what they're doing to attract new customers to coach touring, or perhaps just introduce themselves. And then we'll ask a few questions. And if you can be thinking of questions you'd like to ask them, we have a roving microphone, and we'll be coming to you later, so you can ask our three luminaries, I think that's what Jason said he was, you can ask them questions. So to start off, and probably just to give a little bit of an update on CTA activities as Vice Chair, Jason Edwards.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for the invite. I think, where we are, this is, again, I use the phrase all the time, it's a bit of a blank canvas. It's a fantastic industry to be involved with. But I think, as with any business, you need to understand what your core values are, what are you actually looking to achieve, what your budget restraints are. Where we are, we're in quite a unique sort of position. We only started 2 years ago. So we've gone from a standing start with 0 customers. We trebled turnover year 1, and we're pretty much on target again now for year 2. A lot of that is the team of people you got around you, without a shadow of a doubt, that some of them are here today. And the customers, you've got to offer something a little bit different. It's that quality is value for money. We got to make people want to travel with us. We got to make people want to spend money with us and want to return time and time again. I got that old adage, if we had our existing customer base to book another 0.5% of a holiday, we couldn't cope with demand. So it's looking after the existing customer base and the existing customers, which is key. And what sort of magic can we sprinkle on something else then, whether it's product or opportunities, to attract newer and a younger audience. We were talking earlier, and I'm 54 now. I probably am now the new younger audience. It pains me to say, but we are. So we're all getting a little bit older, and we're all aging gracefully. Some of us are anyway. So again, it's just looking at those opportunities, understanding what's important to your business, your geographical area you're in, and the sort of budgets you got. We can't spend thousands of pounds on AI technology and things. What we can do is look at our stuff, look at our website, look at the way we present our business. Even uniform is part of sort of your branding, your awareness and everything else. So I was travelling back from yesterday, and there was a bit of a coach anorak on this one, but there was 3 Brookline coaches in memory services, absolutely immaculate. Now they just travel up from Kent, so they've done a couple of miles anyway, but their business card is a 12-metre coach travelling along the road, and I actually stopped and took a picture. So again, there's loads of different opportunities, but the only advice I can try and give you is just to focus on some simple sort of steps and work on that.
Okay, I'm sure we'll come back to that in a moment. Louise.
I was going to say good morning, but it's good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Stuart. As a wholesaler to the UK coach market, we have a fantastic product team pulling together an extensive range of different products, and it is something you pointed towards. You've got your core product, but with a sprinkle of something extra. And I think it's really important. We are all focused on how do we get a younger traveller onto coach holidays, how do we get new customers onto coach holidays. That sometimes we forget about the core customer. So I think it's really important that you continue with your core product, because there is always going to be an ageing population who at some point in their life is going to turn to coach holidays if they are no longer comfortable driving, but having a different range of product for potentially reaching out to other markets, but having that separate from your core product. I think marketing is a real key factor in that. I'm sure we will all agree a younger traveller on a traditional coach holiday is never always the right fit, because There could be accessibility issues with a much older traveller, and that could cause frustrations for a younger traveller. So I think, yeah, marketing is a real key element of that. I also think when it comes to social media and websites, to reach to a, we had the question, what is a younger market person? We've all asked that question. And I think nowadays, a 70-year-old today is not the same as a 70-year-old yesterday. They're more active, they're more agile, they've possibly grown used to booking holidays online relatively easily. That I think looking at your website, is your website easy to use? Is it clear? Is it easy to book a holiday? I think those are also things to look at, as well as social media. We've seen a growing trend in event-driven breaks. Okay, they're short breaks, but we are seeing a huge growth in event-driven breaks, and I think that's something to look at as well. Sometimes you need to be agile with that because the event could be quite short lead, but you do see quite a big range of ages travelling on those kind of breaks. And as well, we've seen a growing trend of coach holiday by air. Now, I know for some coach operators, saying a coach holiday by air isn't necessarily what they want to hear because they feel it's not a coach holiday. But again, it's just a great way of offering different destinations, however, to a different audience, and making the travel time, cutting the travel time down, which a younger audience don't necessarily want to be on the coach 2 days before they get to their destination. So I think it's being open to those kind of ideas as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Graham?
Thank you very much, Stuart. Agree with everything you say there, Louise. Everything that you've mentioned there is on this same piece of paper with my notes
Sorry.
on. So I've got absolutely nothing to say. The FDS, however, comes at a different angle because we are only a very small part of any tour. And we are the part where we've got to get you across the water. So you ask, why am I sat up here giving you my pearls of wisdom? But my pearls of wisdom really come about collaboration, understanding your markets, understanding what your markets want, and actually understanding how we can make a difference to your tour. You all do fantastic tours across Europe and across the UK. That's no doubt. But we've got to add something in there that makes us stand up above the rest, and for us to give you something that really supports your customer and looks after your customer at the end use. There's a couple of areas where I've looked into when I was asked to do this, and one of the things was we take an awful lot, hundreds and hundreds of coaches over February half term to the ski resorts around Europe. That market is not our demographic for our scores towards the Skegness or to Lochs and Glens. It's not that market at all. It's a very young market. But that young market one day is going to be our demographic. Sorry, Jason, we're saying Ray's a little bit older than you, so I'm ahead of you on the list. So with that in mind, how do we get that market to look at the coaching industry? Now, I went out to a couple of coach operators, and I won't tell you who they are, I won't embarrass them, and said, what information, what data did you put on your private hire coach taking your schools to Europe? And they come back and said, well, either they don't do anything at all, or they put their brochure on it. And I said, so what in that brochure is for that market? What is going to make them want to come back to you next week, become that new customer, that existing customer? The answer there is very little, because there's not many operators who have that product. Now, then you look at how can we collaborate with all the different parties involved in travel to find out who and where our new customers are coming from. So you've got to look at your destinations. And your destinations, I think, are the key to the success on this. We've got to make sure the destinations have got something for that market and the right product to that market. So if you're looking at that demographic that's going skiing, a Nuki tour perhaps with surfing activities, more club club. The club in my day was very different to club today, I'm sure. But club events, I nearly used the phrase disco, and that really does show my age. But looking at something that they're going to want to go to as well, and perhaps not trying to mix it with our existing clientele. So, and being brave to go out there to do it. Within the FDS, the way we've collaborated, the way we've successfully grown the coaching industry, certainly on the Dover, France routes, is by talking to the coach customers and understanding their customers, and talking to their customers and finding out what they want from us. So take you back to the beginning where I started. It's all about collaboration. It's all about working for the destinations to make sure that we are finding the right product and getting to market the right way in an opportune time.
Thank you very much, Graham. I'm intrigued, Jason, because you've been around in the. He said cautiously and carefully here. You've been around a little while in the industry, but setting up a new coach tour business on that side of what you do, you have an opportunity, obviously, to dip into the existing traditional over 55, 60 market. But how do you differentiate yourself as a new business in what is already quite a crowded coach tour market in South Wales? How have you established yourself in that way? Or more importantly, what have you done that's different in trying to do anything with it with a slightly different audience at all?
Yeah, it's a tough question. For us, really, it's just looking at yourself. We're just trying to be the best we can. We got an eye on competition. As friends of mine who are competition here today, we help and support each other as much as we can. We try and be a little bit different. We look at our cost base. I think, when we try to attract a younger audience as well, they're quite savvy. They got the environmental green card. There's always a concern on that. Our coaches are Euro 6 engines. You go look at the Yutong electric coach there. That's the next step for us, maybe. We're using some fantastic products as well. I think the younger audience wants multiple breaks a year. The old 8 days to Great Yarmouth and Isle of Wight, as much as it was easy for us because we'd have a bus away for 8 days. Fantastic. The drivers are over the moon. They'd having 2 days off halfway through the week, That's changed. So, Joan Sebest down Llandilo, he's got a fantastic business. The majority of his work now is weekend stuff with a younger audience. I think he was telling me his average age is about 43, 45, yep. Going on a coach holiday. So there's opportunities out there, but it's knowing your market, again, knowing your geography. Travelling from the north of England down, to London all the time is a long old drag, let's say. Probably a little bit easier for us, So it's understanding the area you're in, what's manageable really as a comfortable sort of destination for us. They don't want to spend 8-9 hours on the coach, or I wouldn't, unless you're going to Europe. You want time in the resort or the destination in the hotel. Is it a spa there? A happy hour in a bar or whatever else it is. Itineraries. So there's a wealth of different things, and I think that's sometimes where we trip ourselves up. We're trying to be everything to everybody instead of saying, right, hang on, there's 3 core values here. This is what we stand for. This is what we do. And as long as you can keep those values simple, I think that's what takes off. It's work for us. Budget constraints are a massive thing. You can spend £600,000 now on a brand new Vanul, 40 seats with all the kitchen in the back. There's not many customers out there who want to pay for that seat. There's not many companies out there can afford that on finance as well. The rates the way they are. So again, it's just understanding your audience, your own sort of abilities, really, how far you can stretch your cash flow projections and everything else. And we talk about cash flow every day, So there's all these sort of different factors all pooling into that one resource. So right, okay, is this going to sell or not? Can we make margin? Is it excitable to somebody? Can we do it safely and to the best of our ability? So there's loads of different things. There's loads of different hoops that we try and jump through before we actually. And some of it, the guys will say, listen, just take a punt. Let's just throw it out to see what happens. And some of the most, the tours you think will never ever sell are the ones that actually we got a waiting list on. You can't believe, Yeah. You look at your Abbas and your Mamma Mia's, they've just changed the industry at the moment, It's just something fresh, it's exciting, attracting a new audience. And even the older audience always makes me laugh. I love helping the customers, going on a trip and stuff. And all the older ladies, you're all in a suitcase and it's all you can hear is clinking. There's wine bottles, gin bottles and stuff. I said, you know, there's a bar in your hotel as well. Well, that's for the bus, that is, son. You know, they must be getting off the coach 3 sheets to the wind. But, you know, where we are, we never understand what those people have just gone through. They may have had a tough time, they may have lost somebody, just come from a medical condition. So we never judge, you know. They're going away, they're going out to absolutely enjoy themselves, you know. And that's, as long as we can offer that facility safely, you know, and do the best we can, add value for money, well, that's what we're here to do, really.
I think it's interesting, and Louise, you picked up on the point about when we talk about new customers, are we talking about new, younger customers? So we're moving from, I think the Leisure Shearing's activity was saying that they've traditionally been 55 plus, and now they're trying to attract the 50 plus. It's only a small margin, but if you're going on a coach holiday, you need the time to do that, and traditionally it's been the retirees, I suppose. But there's an interesting point that comes out of all of this, and seeing the electric coach over there, which in passing, if you've not been to have a look at it, it's a magnificent vehicle. And the whole idea of electric, coach travel is already one of the most sustainable travel options out there. But however, going down the electric route, and we're some way off before an electric coach like that will be able to take a full load with luggage, stop overnight, and make sure it's got places to charge up overnight and all of that. However, for day trips and that sort of activity and contract work, those are already proving very popular in different parts of the country. But I'm wondering if, and I'd be interested to know what the panel thinks, are younger people, or perhaps this people who've been going on holidays themselves, they're well aware of the importance of going to zero emissions and are coming into our sort of age range. Is electric something that will go, that's good, and we might get people in terms of the marketing that we do, whether it's a ferry operator or a wholesaler or a coach operator, is electric a message that's resonating, or, as I think you've probably already explained, focusing on what we have already and doing that really well, and making sure that the different types of product, they will attract new people in. Where are we with that? Is electric something that, in the whole sustainability, green credentials, is that something we should be thinking about? Because I know with ships, obviously, it is, but...
Absolutely, sure. Yeah, with ships, it definitely is, and DFDS have a sustainability policy where by 2040, we're looking at it being carbon neutral, 2050, all fully carbon neutral. And that's not that long away. I'll be retired by then. It won't run to me what we're running it on, but it will for my children, and it will for my grandchildren. But at the moment, on the ferry point of view, the infrastructure on land isn't there to support fully electric vessels on the channel. P&O have got a wonderful ship, two wonderful ships that run on hybrid, but they don't have the power at the port because the infrastructure is not there. So they're pushing towards this sustainability, this green credentials, but the infrastructure just isn't there yet. The same as a coach for a coach, but it will come. It will come in time, and whether it's electric or it's ammonia or methanol or whatever it is, carbon fuels is definitely on the way out, and the investment that has been happening across the world with ferries particularly is enormous. And you won't see an awful lot of new vessels that aren't hybrid coming onto the waters in the distant future. They will all be ready for the next generation.
I know, Louise, you have a background in with hoteliers, and whether hoteliers are embracing this to help ensure that if a coach operator has an electric vehicle and wants to go to a hotel, the hotelier is going, actually, yes, here's an opportunity for us, or the costs of that far outweigh the benefits, and therefore it's not something that's going to happen for a little while.
I mean, I think sustainability is important to people, but I think until the infrastructure's in place with that, it's a difficult message to go out there and market with, isn't it? And you know, I can see there's some hotel people in the audience. I've been out of hotels for a while, but certainly, you know, coach parking in a hotel can be challenging because they don't have dedicated coach bays, for example. They're taking up parts of their car park. So potentially, it's then an extra cost for them to put the charging point into the hotel. And I think, you know, until we're at a place that there is consistency around seeing the true value of coach travel and what that can bring, trying to counterbalance that message that it's going to be cost effective for you, or it's your profit margins, etc. It's going to be positive. That is a really tough message to get across. I think electric coaches, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert on this compared to me, but I think for longer distances, it is challenging, and I think we should focus on the sustainability of coach holidays with a Euro 6 vehicle, in the sense of you're taking a short break to a city centre, there's potentially 20, 30 cars less going to visit that centre, city centre, because we're bringing people by coach. And I think until we're at a point of infrastructure for electric in general for vehicles, I think that's the message that we need to be focusing on.
It sounds chicken and egg that until the demand is there, hotels aren't going to do much. But then will the demand be there if hotels aren't doing much? Jason, at the moment, you mentioned electric as something, in the pipeline for you as a coach operator, but it's not something important necessarily yet, or is it?
For us, it's, I was lucky enough to spend some time out in Wrightbus 2 weeks ago. They've just developed, a new coach coming into the market. Hydrogen is on everybody's lips up there, So you're looking at, the Pelican, they do a phenomenal electrical vehicle, but it's only got a limited range. I think it's something like 300 miles, Hydrogen is not quite there yet, but it's going to be. But whatever it is, the market is changing. And going back to, again, with us coach operators, we've got to earn a living. The price of these vehicles coming through the door now are absolutely, double, treble on what we would pay for a standardised diesel engine. So we've got to make sure that our margins are there. We've got a sustainable business. We're doing a sort of a presentation with the Cotswolds of Bolton on Water with the coach park. And, it's pretty fair to say a coach will take 44 cars off the road. But we can't drop the coach people off in the centre of the town. They've got to walk 20 minutes, 30 minutes into town. And you saw the numbers that Josh was pouring out earlier, the value of spend. We've seen it from ourselves. Our coach customers spend money. They come to the local economy, they spend money. We're lucky enough to do cruises and things and everything else, which is, I'm not, saying it's a bad industry to be involved with, but they don't spend money. They got an all-inclusive bar on a 5-star ship with a Michelin celebrity chef. They're not going to eat in a sort of cafe, whatever it is on the side of the, common or whatever. So I think people need to understand the importance of our industry. The infrastructure certainly needs to be there, the basics. A coach park, a restroom for the driver, because he is working. When we all work in our offices, we got simple facilities like a microwave, hot and cold water, a toilet. Well, the driver hasn't. And then you expected him then to look after 40 people to the best of his ability and want to come back to that destination again. And I can tell you now, my guys won't. If there's another destination up the road that's more suitable for them and their needs, they'll stop there. Yeah. And rightly so as well. So again, it's the complete sort of investment is the word really, whether it's the vehicles or the tourist information centres or the local authority. It's not for us as operators to tell them that we should be coming in number one on your agenda. We don't know what the council's problems are, but if you've certainly got an interest in tourism, and tourism is a big factor of your income in the community, well, it needs to be addressed.
Yeah. We've got time for a couple of questions or so. Does anybody like to ask a meaningful question? Put our panellists on the spot. Well, maybe not. But
can I just start off a minute now? If anybody mentions the rugby, I'm off.
Anybody with a question? Goodness me. I think one question, while you're, again, just thinking, and it might be that all the questions have been answered. I think from a ferry operator's perspective, and it's something that's dear to everybody's heart here, just briefly, delays at Dover, which can sometimes put people off from travelling. We hear the research where they say, we don't want to do continental touring because of the delays. Is very frustrating for everybody who's involved in delivering a first-class service, and DFDS obviously does, the coach operators do, the tour wholesalers do. Putting you on the spot slightly, Graham, the fault of the delays at Dover is nothing to do with you. How can you mitigate sort of that damage to reputation and avoid putting people off from travelling? So in attracting new customers, it wants to be as seamless journey, but it's pretty difficult to deliver that at the minute with the way everything is at the ports.
It is, and it's been a trying time, and of course the press, excuse me for slates in the press, Stuart, but they do like to jump on a bad news story, and unfortunately last summer we had a horrendous situation where it was in Easter where the coaches were piled up for a enormous amount of time at the port going out of Dover. We are at the mercy of the authorities down there with PAF and with Border Force, and we need PAF to understand the numbers. Commercially, it's a port, and where our 3 commercial operators all running out of one small port at the corner of Dover. There's always going to be delays, but it's how we mitigate that, how we manage that. And we have to believe in the process. We have to believe in the process that Dover Harbour authorities are doing the right thing by moving the coach check-in to Western Dock with their own dedicated toilet and rest facilities in there, with a cafeteria, with new buildings in place, so that when the ETA, ETIAS, etc., fingerprint facial recognition comes in, that's going to be done off-site at the Western Docks, which mitigates any problems with queues going down into the main avenue into the Eastern Docks. So everything for you as a coach operator, will be done in the Western Docks. When you go through to the Eastern Docks, you just drive straight through on the right-hand side, straight round to check-in, because everything would have been done. Your coach will be sealed, and this is the Port of Dover's plan. Your coach will be sealed with a little sticker. As long as that sticker's in place, you'll go straight away through. So what it does, it takes your customers into a more comfortable place. So if there are delays, you have toilets that you don't get blue bum, and anyone who's sat on the coach knows exactly what I mean there. You have cafe facilities where you can top up your water, you can top up your drinks, and we, as a ferry operator, ask you as responsible coach tour operators, you make sure you've got provisions on board your coach for your customers. And be very timely. Simple as that.
Yeah, it makes some sense. We are seeing, I think now, in talking to coach operators, when I write for a trade magazine called Route 1, and we're talking to coach operators, and there's many are seeing a resurgence now in continental touring. The challenges of the delays at Dover, which certainly impacted on for a period of time on the success of those tours, that's eased a little. We hear now that EES, the entry-exit system with the biometrics at the port, is due, I think, to come in October, and then ETIAS, which is the visa waiver scheme, is at some point then, I think, in the early into 2026.
Possibly as late as 2026 October.
Yes, so that's going to add another element in, but the popularity of getting on a coach and spending time away touring all around different parts of Europe is coming back, which is encouraging. I'm conscious that we're almost on time. I think I'm going to ask the panel if they would, bearing in mind this topic is winning new customers to coach holidays, and we'll save Jason till last, but I'm going to start with Louise. If there was one thing, after all the things we've discussed, it's almost like the Holy Grail, if I'm able to say that these days, about how do you win new customers to coach holidays, what is it?
For me, it is the right product and how you market that product. If you're after a new market, attracting a new customer, your marketing has to reflect that and not be in with your core marketing. That would be my key takeaway.
Okay, Graham?
Collaboration, timely getting it out to the market. So make sure you're making most of your opportunities to get your new products to your new customer to market in time.
Okay, and Jason?
Oh, for me, don't be afraid of failure. Give it a go. You know, it's a fantastic industry we belong to. You know, we're all passionate about what we do. We wouldn't be here now. There's no one answer will fit anything. If I knew that, I'd be sitting on a yacht in Marbella, not sitting on here now. And just give things a go. Just try and enjoy yourselves. But, you know, you are going to fail. You know, you reevaluate what you've just done. You get back on the bike and go again.
Okay. I think one thing we've learnt, probably, and one thing we can expect is in the year ahead, it's going to be another fascinating year ahead for this industry. It's a magnificent industry. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come and listen today. Would you thank our panellists in the usual manner?
Well done.